Welcome to Finding Alara, a safe space where authors, artists and creatives share their world-building style and mindfulness tactics. Brought to you by Bushland Castle Productions, a micro-publisher with an author support platform that nurtures creative growth and storytelling excellence. Welcome to the Indie Author Book Fair Minisode series. All of these interviews were recorded as a live stream from the Indie Author Book Fair on the 30th of November 2025 in Bunbury. Each minisode will have the live interview component with myself or Paul Vandermeer from Forest.chat and an excerpt from one of their creative works which may just inspire you to have a closer look at what is available in the indie book world. Feature guest 9 of 27 is Pete Mitchell. Pete Mitchell is a West Australian writer whose fiction blends emotional depth with sharp observation and a darkly comic edge. His debut novel, Darwin's Wake, explores identity, loss and reinvention, while his short fiction ranges from speculative satire to tender suburban portraits. In 2025, Pete won the Margaret River Readers and Writers Festival Flash Fiction Competition, adding to a growing list of accolades that recognise his versatility and narrative precision. His fiction collection, Read My Shorts, features 38 standout stories such as No Second Chances, Bobby's Jumper, and Beware the Golden Hamster, each showcasing his flair for distinctive voice and resonant themes, spanning homelessness, speculative politics, dark humour, and suburban secrets. An accompanying adult colouring book is scheduled for release in late 2026. His first book, Darwin's Wake, has the hook, "In Darwin's wake, lives and cultures collide, and only the toughest will survive." His second book, Read My Shorts, has the hook, an eclectic collection of stories that explore the strange, tender and often darkly funny aspects of everyday lives. Pete's books are available on Amazon with a direct link in the show notes. We have done our best to clean up the audio for the interviews, but it was recorded live. Some of the background noise has embedded itself within the files, increasing the ambience of the interview. Please note that during the excerpt there is talk of loss and dealing with that loss over a long period of time. If this is something that triggers you, please make sure you look after yourself and seek help if needed. I hope that you enjoy our little chat, and I will return to your ears at the end to share my key takeaways and let you know who the next guest is going to be. Hello everyone, I'm here with Pete Mitchell. Pete has an amazing book here called Darwin's Wake. That's the first one, and for this event he made sure that he had his short story collection called Read My Shorts. All right. So, Pete, how are you today?
Yeah, great. It's a fantastic event. It's been going really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here. There's got quite a good turnout. So I understand you wanted to make sure that this book was ready specifically for this event.
Yeah, I came to a previous Bunbury Book Fair and promoted my Darwin's Wake novel when it came out in 2023, and I was really keen to do another one, but I thought if I was coming down and making the effort to do the event, I really should have another product. So I've made a collection of short stories and put 38 short stories in my collection, Read My Shorts.
Fantastic. It's always good to have a deadline sometimes.
Yeah, and I just scraped in, so I was really happy with that. Process always takes a little bit longer than what you estimate, so I've just been able to get this off the printer. In fact, a box came Thursday before you headed down to the fair just now. So.
And you've got a raffle running, I see. So tell me a little bit more about this raffle.
Yeah, the raffle is to perhaps make people walking past the stall have a bit of a pause and a bit of a think about what might be going on here. But the raffle is based on stories within the Read My Shorts collection. So we've got things like gold coins, fairy floss, a can of EB and a can of Emu Export, which all relate to stories in Read My Shorts. To make it easy for readers, I put a couple of little marks like the beer cans are story number 30, so they can read the story and then figure out what the link is.
Oh, I thought you were just going to encourage them to have a beer.
Well, for those underage, I will promise to scull the beer prior to giving them the cans for the 10-cent deposit.
Well, that's very kind of you. Yeah. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how you found yourself on the creative path.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I have a friend who's an author, and English isn't his first language, so he was asking me to provide some editing for him. And his English is perfect, but some of his dialogue was a little bit clunky. And in doing that process, I said to him, oh, this story reminds me a little bit of a story from my own background. And he said, well, write it down. And that led to one of the chapters, which is actually in Darwin's wake, somewhat autobiographical. And then the whole story actually evolved from there. And I've really enjoyed writing as a process, both novel length and short stories. So my latest is a short story collection, but I have 2 other novel length works on the go. And hopefully at least one of those will be ready for the next Bunbury Book Fair.
Another deadline for you. That's
fantastic. Right, yeah. I think procrastination is the worst enemy of a writer. So to have that deadline to actually meet is a big challenge, but it actually gets things done.
Fantastic. So you said it wasn't 100% easy for you to publish your books. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, the writing, I suppose, is really the first step, and you do that pretty much in isolation. You can sort of ferret yourself away on a computer, produce the work. Then once you've got your finished product, you actually need to market it. So to do things like this, to actually get it on the shelves in places, is pretty tough. So you have to learn a whole new set of skills around production, both in terms of cover production right through to actually selling them.
So can you tell me 5 words that best describe the type of author that you are?
Yeah, I like to write a variety of things. So I'd like to describe myself as eclectic, very passionate. There's lots of social issues I touch on in my work as well, and persistent. And I think persistent is something that every writer needs to be just to get that work finished. There's so many stories about writers that have nearly finished work sitting in a drawer somewhere that never see the light of day. Yeah,
there's heaps. The stats are pretty bad. I think it's like 2% of authors actually finish the books that they start.
That's right.
So,
yep.
What drew you to write Australiana? I'm guessing it's Australiana because it's Darwin's wake. And...
Certainly a big Australian flavour in it. One of the stories in Read My Shorts actually has a glossary because I use some Noongar terms as well to make that more fully understandable. The characters in Darwin's wake are very much Australian based, but there is also one of the characters is from Sri Lanka, so it takes a bit of an international lean as well.
Oh, okay. Sri Lanka's an interesting choice. You've been there?
Yeah. So it drew on some personal experiences once again. It relates to a really interesting place in Sri Lanka called Gaul, which was once a Portuguese, then a Dutch, then an English, and now a Sri Lankan city. So it's got a bit of a melting pot of cultures.
Amazing. So can you tell us, for someone who's just starting out, how would they get into the independent author journey?
Yeah, well, look, I think the big thing is if you're passionate, come along to things like this. You can actually feed off the energy of other authors as well, and it's always good to see what other independent authors are doing. There are a lot of sharks out there, so be careful, but maintain that passion and just get the words on a page and then come and have a talk to other independent authors like at events like this, and they can help you along that journey.
It's good to build a community around your stories, for sure.
Absolutely.
What other books do you have planned for the future? You've got 2 full-length novels on the go?
Yeah, as I said before, I like to have a bit of a variety of things on the go. So one full-length novel, which is once again set in Perth, where I'm from, but it actually involves a young woman who believes she has psychic abilities, and one of those incidents assists a missing person crime being solved. And my other work is actually based in the Barossa Valley initially, around a vineyard, and a young woman finds a link to some hidden gold, and that's a young adult novel that I've enjoyed. And what I haven't listed there, I've just written my first children's book as well. So Eddie the emu that dared to dream, about an emu that decides that flying shouldn't be an impediment, even if you're an emu.
Fair call. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today.
Fantastic.
Really appreciate talking to you, and I'm sure that we'll get one of those books and see the whole way through.
We'll see you at the next one.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have you finished building your story and you're not sure which pathway to choose for publishing? The Book Reality Experience is a publishing assistance service offering partnership publishing solutions to authors. We have different pathways available, and we'll recommend what we think works best for you and your story. Check out our website at www.bookreality.com for more information. Together, let's turn your book dream into a reality.
The excerpt I have for you today is Bobby's Jumper. It is one of the short stories from Read My Shorts. Helen, I'm home. You won't believe the weather. It's torrential out there. There's so much rain. I didn't dare drive at more than 40. It took forever to get home from bridge. I hung my raincoat in the entry. Drips pattered silently onto the polished boards. Helen wouldn't be pleased. I must remember to wipe that up. I don't want either of us to slip. Helen, you home? The silence worried me. I hoped she hadn't had another fall. I called nervously. Helen? Up here. I walked down the hall and saw that the stairs to the attic had been pulled down. Helen, I thought we'd spoken about this. You know I don't like you going up there, especially when I'm not home. I grasped the handrail and made my way up, ensuring I had a good foothold on each tread before moving up to the next. I paused halfway to listen and to catch my breath. Was Helen talking to someone? Helen, are you all right? The naked bulb cast a sepia halo over Helen and the trunk at which she was crouched. She held a pale blue knitted jumper in her scarred hands. She gently raised it, buried her face in it, and inhaled. A pair of tiny overalls and t-shirt lay neatly folded by her side. Toys and more clothes encircled her. You can still smell the smoke in this one. She looked up at me with sorrowful eyes. I could tell she had been crying. Helen, I don't think that's right. I'm sure it is just mothballs you're smelling. You know we put some in the trunk when you moved last winter. They're meant to prevent pests. I should have never turned my back on that cake. It should be me in the ground, not our boy. I wish it had been me. He had so little time on this earth. Who would have thought 2 little candles could do such a lot of damage? Helen, we've spoken about this so many times. I tried not to sound tired, but I knew my tone had betrayed me. How do we always end up back here? There was nothing that she could have done. It was an accident, a terrible, tragic accident. The people in the paper had said so too, and I know what they're usually like. The fire investigators said it was a freak accident, one of the worst he'd ever seen. Even he couldn't believe how quickly the flames had taken hold when the curtains ignited. Helen was lucky to have not passed away in the fire too. Her burns were dreadful, months in hospital and then all that time in rehab. Pete was very creative with his raffle and subscription list builder. There were a few people there at the show building their lists, and his raffle was a great opportunity to personalise the experience. My first takeaway from the interview was procrastination is the worst enemy of a writer. My second takeaway was again in line with the theme of the event, networking, how important it is to build that community with other creatives. My third takeaway is watch out for sharks. There are plenty of providers that don't feel as passionately about your craft, but they do feel passionately about money, especially yours, in their pocket. What were your key takeaways? If you would like to carry on the conversation with Pete, then he has Facebook and his own website, petemitchell.com.au. You can find all the social links in the show notes along with his book list. The next special episode you will hear from D.S. Lormans. If you are enjoying the show and would like to show some support, then please subscribe and share these episodes with a friend. Or if you want to go the next step, you can buy us a cuppa. Head on over to ko-fi.com/findingalara. That's ko-fi.com/findingalara. There is an option for you to buy a cup of tea for $2, or you can join the Shadow Lair for $5 a month, where you receive exclusive content and advanced information about the show. If you would like to get in touch with myself or the team at Bushland Castle Productions, then I'm on Instagram and TikTok as @FindingAlara. There is a Discord channel and Facebook group called Finding Alara Podcast. The Bushland Castle Productions team are on Facebook, Instagram and Discord as BCP Creative. Or you can check out the website bushlandcastleproductions.com for the most up-to-date information. If you would like to get in touch with Chris, then he is on Facebook as Chris Ilsley. And if you want to talk to Paul, then he is on Facebook as Paul Vandermeer. And he has his own podcast, Forest.chat. The music is brought to you by @KeysOfMoonMusic and is called The Epic Hero. If you enjoyed listening to Finding Alara, have any questions, or just want to share your world with us, then please get in touch. Until next time, keep up the search for your Alara.